So I, 31-year-old female, am the older of two. Baby brother decided to go backpacking 4 years ago and is doing fine, but not home. Mom, 55-year-old female, has issues with her knees, so she no longer works. Nana, 79-year-old female, has always been hurtful. She isn't actually disabled, but acts like she is, expecting mom to act like a kind of personal slave. Does Nana want a tea but her favorite show is playing? She will get angry if mom doesn't rush to get her said tea and refuses to believe mom is in pain, saying she's just too lazy. Nana views mom as some sort of second-hand thing just because she never married and was a single mom. Nana's golden child is Uncle Dan, 51-year-old male, and will always compare him with mom, even though he went LC, low contact, with her long ago and will just send her $60. 0 to live on, doesn't need it. Nana hoarded a good sum of money when grandpa passes and is always forcing mom to buy her stuff, thus spending her disability and the money I give her. Now there is me. I don't cook or do chores. I work at home and take care of the bills, give mom money for her stuff, and do my best to spoil her. That's our arrangement. She loves cooking, so I buy her whatever she needs for her recipes, delicious food that Nana will find a way to find disgusting. She will bring me coffee or snacks to my desk, will braid my hair daily, and just spoil me rotten. My fiancé, Eric, 35-year-old male, knows this. At first, he was shocked when he saw the amount of attention I get from mom, but slowly started to crave her food, getting used to fresh lemonade when he comes in, and overall being babied with a smile because she likes doing so. So when I talked about the situation to him, he suggested we take mom to live with us when we marry next year. To say I was happy is an understatement. She's excited to move in with us and already planning her daily routine and what she will cook for us. Eric, on his side, has decided he will also give her a similar amount of money as me in exchange for her care. The only one unhappy is my uncle. He has been outraged ever since I called him to let him know he has to do something about Nana, as she will no longer have my mom to slave away for her, trying to change my mind because his wife dislikes Nana, and he is not going to ruin his marriage by bringing her to live with him. In his desperation, he asked me to meet today for breakfast. When I arrived at the place, he started berating me for being selfish and trying to harm his family by imposing them to care for Nana. He also accused me of being lazy and treating my mom like a servant. I said I am not changing my mind, and he left in a huff. Now the whole family is blowing up my phone, asking how can I be that heartless towards a sweet old lady. Sweet old lady, my butt. Am I the idiot? Am I the jerk here? Mom is scared, and I certainly don't think leaving her is a good option. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Tell him everyone calling Nana a sweet old lady that they can take turns taking care of her. And tell your uncle that it's his turn to deal with his mother. Your mother has spent years being Nana's punching bag and scapegoat. It's time for her to get a break from the abuse. If your uncle doesn't want to take care of his mother himself, he can hire someone else to deal with her. But your mother deserves the same freedom her brother has enjoyed for years. Comment 2, not the idiot, so not. But if I can offer a suggestion, it sounds like your mom's love language is caring for people, and that is fine, so long as everyone agrees with what is enough. Please encourage your mom to have a few to several things in her daily schedule strictly for her, not any other person. She sounds like she would absolutely love living with you two. Please make sure she gets the well-rounded life she needs too. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last update, and I wanted to fill you in on what's been happening over the past 3 months. Thanks for taking the time to read this. After the breakfast meeting with Uncle Dan, things took a turn for the worse. He started spreading lies about how I was mistreating mom and forcing her to be my personal servant. It was absolutely ridiculous, but some family members actually believed him. They started calling me non-stop, leaving voicemails about how I was being selfish and cruel to Nana. It was so frustrating because they had no idea what was really going on. Mom was getting more and more anxious as the days went by. She was worried that Uncle Dan would somehow convince me to change my mind about letting her move in with Eric and me. I reassured her that nothing could make me go back on my word, but I could tell she was still uneasy. One day, I overheard Mom on the phone with Nana. Nana was screaming at her, calling her ungrateful and useless. Mom was in tears, apologizing over and over again. It broke my heart to see her like that. After the call, I sat down with Mom and we had a long talk. She finally opened up about how Nana had been treating her for years, even before Grandpa passed away. Nana would constantly belittle her, comparing her to Uncle Dan and making her feel worthless. Mom had never told anyone because she was ashamed and didn't want to cause problems in the family. I was furious. I couldn't believe that Nana had been emotionally harassing Mom for so long and no one had noticed. I decided it was time to confront Nana myself. I drove over to her house and found her sitting in her recliner, watching TV. I told her everything I knew and how I wasn't going to stand for her treating Mom like garbage anymore. Nana just laughed and said I was being dramatic. She claimed that Mom was just lazy and needed to be pushed to do better. I lost my temper and started yelling at her, telling her that she was a horrible person and that I was done with her. Nana's face turned red and she started screaming back at me, saying that I was an ungrateful brat and that I would regret turning my back on her. I stormed out of the house shaking with anger. Over the next few weeks, things only got worse. Uncle Dan kept trying to guilt trip me into changing my mind, but I stood my ground. Mom was getting more and more depressed, and I was worried about her mental health. Eric was a huge support during this time, always there to listen and offer advice. Finally, the day came for Mom to move in with us. We had spent the previous week packing up her things and getting her room ready. As we loaded the last box into the car, I noticed Uncle Dan standing at the end of the driveway. He had a strange expression on his face, almost like he was sad. I walked over to him and asked what he wanted. He handed me an envelope and said, "I'm sorry for everything. I hope this makes things right." Inside the envelope was a letter from Nana. In it, she apologized for the way she had treated Mom over the years. She said that she had been jealous of Mom's relationship with Grandpa and had taken out her anger on her. She also admitted that she had been lying about her health problems and that she didn't really need Mom's constant care. I was shocked. I had never expected Nana to apologize, let alone admit to her lies. I showed the letter to Mom and she burst into tears. She said that she had always hoped that Nana would someday realize how much she had hurt her. We moved Mom into our house that day, and things have been going well since then. She's been cooking up a storm in the kitchen and spoiling us rotten with her delicious meals. Eric and I have been giving her the money we promised, and she's been using it to buy herself little treats and gifts. Uncle Dan has been coming around more often, trying to make amends for his behavior. He's even started helping out with Nana's care, giving Mom a much-needed break. It's not perfect, but it's a start. As for Nana, she's still living alone in her house. Mom visits her once a week, but their relationship is strained. Nana's apology letter was a step in the right direction, but it doesn't erase years of abuse and neglect. Mom is working on forgiving her, but it's a slow process. Looking back on everything that's happened, I realize that family dynamics can be complicated and messy. There's no easy solution to problems that have been building for years. But I'm grateful that Mom is finally getting the love and support she deserves. And I'm hopeful that our family can continue to heal and grow together. Thanks again for reading, and I'll keep you updated on any new developments. My friend's negligence put my dog in danger and she lied about it. So I kicked her out and made her mom reveal her history of irresponsibility. I let my best friend Amy stay at my place for a few weeks while her place was getting renovated. It's a rental and she didn't have much of a choice in timing. I also have a French bulldog that will eat anything and everything. As much as I love him, he's not the brightest. Which is why there are a few rules to follow when staying at my place, which I also informed Amy about. Other than not leaving anything on the sofa or in his reach, the most important is to not leave anything on the table and to move the chairs away from the table when we're not home. Cut to a few days after her arrival, I got home and my dog looked a bit unwell. I asked Amy if she saw anything and she said he was fine when she got home. I took him out for a walk and as I was picking up his poop, I saw a candy wrapper in his poop. I came home and asked Amy if she left anything on the table or in his reach and she said no, that maybe he ate something off the street from the previous walk. I explained that it's very important for me to know if he ate anything so I can take him to the vet. She adamantly said no and told me it's my fault for not paying attention to what my dog picks up from the street. Needless to say, my dog started feeling sicker and I had to take him to the vet, where they discovered that he had around 8 or 9 candy wrappers in his stomach. I came back home and confronted Amy, and she finally admitted that she left a bag of candy on the table, but that she pulled the chairs away so she thought he couldn't reach them. However, when she came back home, the bag was on the floor and the candy was gone. I told her that she could have ended the life of my dog since she didn't come clean in the first place, and I wasted precious hours instead of taking him immediately to the vet. She apologized and said she was afraid I would get angry since she knows how adamant I am with these rules. I started yelling at her and told her to leave, that I didn't care if she doesn't have anywhere to go, she needs to figure it out. She is now staying with some friends that live outside of the city, but she has to commute 1.5 hours to get to work. So am I the idiot for not talking it out with her and letting her continue to stay at my place? Edit 1. I have these rules in place because they work. When I leave him alone at home with the precautions in place, he doesn't destroy the house in search of crap to eat. He has been trained to the best of his abilities. The best I can do is also provide a safe environment for what his limitations are. Edit 2. It wasn't a coffee table, but a dining table. For a dog of his stature, he can only climb on top if the chairs are close to the table. This is why I didn't believe Amy really moved the chairs, since there is no other way for him to climb on the table otherwise. Edit 3. I tried the crate method, but he is a very sensitive dog, and he got very depressed when I would try to crate train. Even with me in the house, he would sigh and be low energy the rest of the day. I would rather have some rules in place than have a sad little doggo. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Accidents happen, and it seems like she tried to do the right thing to prevent your dog from getting to the candy. But dogs are dogs and find a way. If that was all that happened, I'd say you overreacted. But the fact that the accident did happen and she lied about it for hours is what made your reaction justified. Comment 2, not the idiot. She lied to you and deliberately tried to make you believe it was your fault, literally saying you must have been the one to miss something. Even worse, she knew your dog was unwell and could potentially and still refuse to stop lying, causing you to delay taking him to the vet. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a week since my last post and I wanted to give you all an update on what's been going on. First off, thanks for all the support and advice you gave me. It really helped me put things into perspective. So after I kicked Amy out, things were pretty tense between us. She tried to apologize again, but I was still too angry to listen. I focused on taking care of my dog and making sure he recovered from the whole candy wrapper incident. The vet said he was lucky to have made it through without any serious complications. A few days later, I got a call from Amy's mom. She was worried about Amy and wanted to know what happened. I explained the situation and she was shocked. Turns out Amy has a history of not taking responsibility for her actions. Her mom told me about how Amy once accidentally let their neighbor's dog out while pet sitting, but instead of owning up to it, she made up a story about a burglar breaking in. The dog was never found. This new information made me see Amy in a different light. I realized that her lying about the candy wasn't just a one-time thing, but a pattern of behavior. It made me question our entire friendship and whether I ever really knew her at all. Meanwhile, my dog was still recovering, and I was spending a lot of time at home with him. One evening, while I was going through some old photos, I found a picture of me and Amy from our college days. We looked so happy and carefree. It made me miss the way things used to be between us. I decided to reach out to Amy and see if we could talk things out. We met up at a coffee shop and had a long, honest conversation. Amy admitted that she had a problem with lying and taking responsibility for her actions. She said she was working on it and going to therapy to address her issues. I appreciated her honesty, and I could see that she was genuinely trying to change. We agreed to take things slow and rebuild our friendship one step at a time. I told her she could come over and visit my dog, but she wouldn't be staying with me again anytime soon. As for my dog, he's doing much better now. The vet gave him a clean bill of health, and he's back to his old energetic self. I've been keeping a closer eye on him and making sure to stick to the rules I have in place for his safety. Looking back, I realized that this whole situation taught me a lot about trust, responsibility, and the importance of setting boundaries in friendships. It wasn't easy, but I'm glad I stood my ground and did what was best for my dog and myself. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks again for all the support and advice. It means a lot to me. My dad's fourth wife tried to scam him out of his pension. So I stepped in and made sure she'll never forget the name of the daughter who outsmarted her. Background: my 21-year-old female, dad, 56-year-old male, is currently divorcing his fourth wife, my stepmom, 57-year-old female. They were together for a decade, and I saw her as a parental figure, but never called her mom. They separated around 8 months ago and now have their own flats. For these 8 months, I have been most of my dad's emotional support. He'd call me and cry on the phone, in person, and over text. I've helped as much as I could, talked him through it, gave him advice, suggested finding new hobbies to expand his circle, all while trying to keep on top of my university work and working part-time. Needless to say, my plate is full. 2 months ago, he told me he wanted to try and get back together with her. I told him that it probably wasn't a good idea, as at this time she had a new boyfriend, but they met up anyway. Apparently it was a very emotional talk, and she still wanted to go through with the divorce, but that there was a chance of reconciliation. She told him she wanted to keep it a secret for 6 months to a year if they got back together, telling none of their respective kids. My dad told me anyway, and I said that sounded suspicious. She then wanted him to sign papers without taking them to a solicitor, but I convinced him to anyway. I'm not 100% sure of the exact documents, but she lied about what the document was. Basically, if he had signed this, she would have had access to his state pension. He said he would take her to the cleaners for that. Well, 2 months later, and they blocked each other and reunited multiple times. They recently went on a weekend away together. He gave her his ring. She then blocked him. They're now seeing each other again, and she will apparently be coming around to his flat often. Throughout all of this, he's been confiding in me, including stuff I, as his daughter, really shouldn't know. I feel very overwhelmed by all of this, and at this point, I'm so tired of all the drama. He says he can't give up on her. At this point, it's cringe-inducing. I asked him a few months ago if I could live with him for my 3rd year of university, since rent is increasing. We talked about me paying him rent, came up with what we both thought was a fair sum, and agreed I could move in by July. All I asked was that he let me know when she would be coming around so I could make myself scarce. I have no interest in having any sort of relationship with her after our family was separated. He agreed and guaranteed he would text me if she was coming. Come to today, where not only does he inform me that she will be coming around without warning, but she will also be getting keys. I said I had one condition. One measly condition, that I would have warning of her presence. He told me to just chill and we will come and go as we please. So am I the idiot for no longer wanting to move in with him? I will post screenshots of our text if this gains traction. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Definitely not the idiot. You said it yourself, you had one condition. And that condition wasn't for her to never come by. It was merely to give you a warning when she would. You're clearly in the right. Also, not to sound like I'm being judgmental, on am I the idiot, LMAO? But if your dad has had 4 marriages fall apart, it sounds like he needs a reality check on his relationship skills. Regardless, you've been more than generous supporting him. Not the idiot. Comment 2, find somewhere else to live. Get a flatmate. Don't live with your father. You don't need to post screenshots. It's straightforward. You don't want her coming and going, and your dad does want her coming and going. It's our dad's place, so she will be coming and going. If you don't want that, you need to live elsewhere. Not the idiot. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my update. It's been a wild 3 months since I last posted about my dad's divorce drama. Where do I even begin? Well, for starters, my dad and his ex-wife have been on this crazy on-again, off-again roller coaster. 1 week they're all lovey-dovey, talking about getting back together, and the next they're at each other's throats, blocking each other on social media. It's been exhausting trying to keep up with their constant flip-flopping. But that's not even the worst part. Remember how I mentioned that my stepmom wanted my dad to sign some shady papers without consulting a solicitor? Turns out she was trying to get her hands on a chunk of his retirement money. When my dad found out, he was furious. He started digging into their finances and discovered that she had been secretly siphoning money from their joint accounts for years. It was a total betrayal of trust. As if that wasn't enough, my dad also learned that his ex-wife had been bad-mouthing him to their mutual friends, spinning this whole narrative about how he was the one who ruined their marriage. It really hurt him to find out that someone he had loved and trusted for so long could turn on him like that. Amidst all this chaos, I've been trying my best to be there for my dad. I've listened to him vent for hours on end, offered advice when he asked for it, and even helped him find a therapist to work through his emotions. But if I'm being honest, it's taken a toll on my own mental health. I've been struggling to focus on my studies and my part-time job, and I constantly feel drained from all the emotional labor. To make matters worse, my dad has started relying on me more and more as his primary source of support. He calls me at all hours of the day and night, expecting me to drop everything to console him. I love my dad, but I'm starting to feel like I'm being taken advantage of. It's like he doesn't realize that I have my own life and responsibilities to deal with. But the real kicker came when I found out that my dad had been confiding in me about things that no daughter should ever have to hear about her father. He started oversharing details about his intimacy life with my stepmom, complaining about their lack of intimacy and how she would always reject his advances. It made me incredibly uncomfortable, and I had to set some firm boundaries with him about what was and wasn't appropriate to share with me. Despite all the red flags, I still agreed to move in with my dad for my third year of university. We had talked about it extensively and came up with a fair rent arrangement. My only condition was that he would give me a heads up whenever his ex-wife would be coming over, so I could make myself scarce. I had zero interest in playing happy family with her after everything that had gone down. But of course, my dad couldn't even stick to that one simple request. He informed me out of the blue that not only would she be coming over without any warning, but she would also be getting keys to the flat. I was livid. It felt like a complete violation of our agreement and my trust. When I confronted my dad about it, he had the nerve to tell me to just chill and that they would come and go as they pleased. I couldn't believe how dismissive he was being of my feelings and boundaries. It was like he expected me to just roll over and accept whatever he and his ex-wife decided, regardless of how it affected me. So now I'm at a crossroads. I don't know if I can go through with moving in with my dad anymore. I feel like I've been bending over backwards to be supportive and understanding, but he clearly doesn't respect me enough to hold up his end of the bargain. It's a hard pill to swallow, realizing that maybe my dad isn't the person I thought he was. I know I need to have a serious talk with him about all of this, but I'm honestly dreading it. I'm afraid that if I push back too hard, he'll just shut me out completely. But at the same time, I can't keep setting myself on fire to keep him warm. I have to prioritize my own well-being and set some healthy boundaries, even if it means disappointing him. Anyway, that's where things stand now. I'm still trying to process everything and figure out my next steps. Thanks for letting me vent and get this all off my chest. It helps to know that I'm not alone in dealing with family drama. If anyone has any advice or words of wisdom, I'm all ears. Until next time, take care of yourselves out there. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!